Welcome to Real Dead.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Mike.
Hey, and this is Josh.
And we are
real dead.
dead.
And we're here
Dead.
tonight. And we're here tonight. And what movie are we talking about, Mike? This is more in your wheelhouse than mine.
This is one actually that I did not see, Josh, until a couple of years ago when I started reading up on the original Friday the 13th more before we went up to see the original Campground. But it was The Burning because Tom Savini does the the whole makeup, the gore type stuff in this one, and he did the original Friday the 13th. So I didn't see this but about a year or two ago, and then until recently we said, hey, let's go back and pull that one out and watch it.
Were you old enough in '81 to go see it in the theater or no?
I don't remember seeing it. It may have came out on, we watched it on VHS or something. I did not go see this at the movie theater.
I would have been -2 in '81, so there ain't no way I could have saw it.
Oh, me. So let's talk right off the bat about, and then we talk about the characters here in a second, but let's go ahead and talk about what Rotten Tomatoes gave this one.
Yes.
So it got a 75 from the critics, which is only about 12 critics watched it, but it got over 5,000 of the audience watched it and gave it a 60. So not too bad for a 1981 horror movie.
Right. I think it's not a bad movie. I like the setting. I can see how people can think that it ripped off Friday the 13th with just the setting, but I think it does more than Friday the 13th with its setting, which I really appreciated. So I'll get into that more later. But it is rated R, just so everybody knows. It does have, of course, gore, nudity, stuff like that. So, and as you said, Tom Savini did a really good job on the special effects for this movie. And a lot of people consider this one of his best movies that he did effects on, even better than Friday the 13th and some of the other ones that he ended up doing. So this, like we said, the setting for this movie.
You want me to give the synopsis? You want me to read it real quick?
Go ahead and do the synopsis. And
I'm going to look over here, but y'all can hear me over here. A former summer camp caretaker, horribly burned from a prank gone wrong, lurks around an upstate New York summer camp. Upstate New York. I wonder who did that. Bent on killing the teenagers responsible for his disfigurement.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's basically the movie. I mean, really, the things I'll go into some things I liked about it, Mike, and then I'll go into some things I didn't like. So I liked the camp setting. I thought it was good. And I liked that the camp was full of campers, actually. Yeah. Friday the 13th never has any campers, actually. It's all just counselors.
Yep.
So this actually has counselors and campers. And there's actually a ton of campers and only a couple of counselors, not even that many, right, Mike? I mean, there really isn't. And I like the interaction. I felt like the characters felt more real because of that. It wasn't just like 7 people at a camp fixing it up, trying to make it ready to go or whatever. So I really liked that. And I thought some of the character development was nice. Just putting it out there. Basically, I mean, these are all teenagers, I would say from the ages of 15 to like 19. So they're very horny, and they're always talking about porn. They're talking about banging women. They're talking about, the girls are talking about hooking up with different guys. The guys are talking about like nudie magazines. They're talking about masturbate. I mean, everything. I mean, it is a movie of its time, and definitely. But one of the things that did bother me about this movie, and I know it's the time or whatever, but man, a couple of these guys are very aggressive with women. I mean, forcing themselves on women like rapey vibes, Mike. Is that true?
Yeah, it would not go over well nowadays.
No, definitely not. So
we also had one famous actor out here that ended up being really big on Broadway and was on Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, was on Seinfeld. Yeah, and that's Jason Alexander, who played George Costanza on Seinfeld. His character actually ends up living. He doesn't die. He's a funny character. He has a lot of funny things. He actually sticks up to a bully a bunch of times. He was actually a fun character. Yeah, like I said, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought the characters. They also had another character named Alfred, which I didn't really care for this character. They made him out to be a real weirdo and stuff, but then he ended up being like the final person,
Like the
kind
hero
of.
at the end.
Yeah, and it's like, wait, I didn't really like this guy. Like, that's what I didn't really understand about this. Like, why make an unlikable character the final person?
The
You're supposed
final
to like
hero.
this. You know what I mean? I mean, did you feel that way, Mike, about his character?
Yeah, I mean, they made him out to be a creep, and he was creeping around looking at women or girls, young girls. I say women, but they were young girls nude in the showers and stuff. But yeah, and then he ended up coming back to be the hero, and he was creeping around watching all of them make out.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of felt bad for him because he's like, everybody makes fun of me, blah blah blah. But then you kind of realize why. He's like freaking staring at people all the time. He's, I mean, I don't know. I didn't like his character. But one of the things I didn't like, Mike, and I think you can agree, the guy Crosby, the killer. I don't know if he has like a killer name or whatever, but he kills a prostitute early in the movie, and there really is no reason for it. It doesn't need to be in the movie. Like, so he got burned up and he just became a psycho killer now. Like, that wasn't about revenge at all. So that's why I don't get that kill at all, Mike.
Yeah, I didn't think that needed to be in the movie at all. I mean, to me, what made Friday the 13th so good, in my opinion, the original of these type 80s horror movies or like camp movies, was you never knew who the killer was, and they didn't release it at Friday the 13th to the very, very, very end of the movie that it was Jason Voorhees' mom. By showing this scene early on where he's killing somebody, you pretty much know he's the killer. And even in the description I just read, it tells you right off the bat who the killer is. I thought it would have been much better if they never would have had that scene in there. And you're wondering the whole time, is this kind of like Friday the 13th? Is it an ex-camp counselor is upset that their uncle was burned or something? But they kind of give it away right away.
Yeah, I mean, the motivation, we didn't say the motivation behind the killings. He was a caretaker, and these guys were trying to play a trick on him to scare him. He ends up getting horribly burnt. I mean, really burnt bad. He ends up spending 5 years in like a hospital, and then he's released, and he wants revenge on these people that did this. Though he only takes revenge on one person, because there was only one person at this camp that was involved in getting him burned when there was like 8 guys involved in the original scheme. So that made no sense, Mike, either, in my opinion. Because there was only one guy. His name's Todd. He's a counselor there. Todd, it looked hot there, Mike, and Todd was straight up full denim outfit. Denim pants, jeans, and a denim button-up shirt, long sleeve, Mike.
Let me tell you, Josh, nowadays these young kids are wearing these Lululemon shorts that are short shorts that look like Richard Simmons in the 80s. And when this movie was playing, my son walked through the room and he's like, "Are those shorts appropriate?" And I was like, "Anthony, you think you're part of the short crowd now? Back in the 80s and the 70s, they wore short shorts. All of those were nutters, man. They were all up in here showing everything you got."
I took a note of that.
And what was so funny, though, is you had short shorts, but then immediately you'd see like Wrangler jeans with shirts tucked in the jeans and their brown belt showing. I mean, it's so funny to go back and watch that now, knowing that I probably wore the same thing when I was 10, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah. By the time I was a kid, the bathing suits went longer in the legs, so that was good. Not as long as they are now, but definitely.
The camp setting was good, though, right, Josh? I mean, it's kind of like the Friday 13th camp setting, except you see real kids out there playing softball and playing games and swimming.
I liked it a lot. Now there is a lot of kills in this movie, but I think for me and you, there's only one that's going to be the winner here, and that's the raft scene, Mike.
The what? The raft scene? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's the best scene in the whole movie. I mean, I think it's
I think they killed probably 4 or 5, 6 people in that 45-second clip.
And the cool thing is because these people think they found a canoe that was lost, and so they go up to it, and there was like 5 kids on this canoe. He stands up, and his weapon of choice, we didn't talk about that. His weapon of choice is gardening shears. The big, like Brutus the Barber Beefcake used to have, man. And so he's just stabbing these guys. This one guy puts his hands up to try to block it. He cuts this guy's fingers off. And then the other guy he stabs right here in the neck, which he deserved it. Georgie, that guy totally was just trying to grope women, and he was sick. So he should have definitely been murdered. But he got stabbed right here. This other girl, he like took it, swung it, cut her forehead wide open, like her skull got sliced open, just poured blood on her face. Another girl got stabbed in the back and got thrown in the lake, and then another guy just got his chest stabbed. But I thought that scene was really cool, and it was the standout of the movie in my opinion.
Yeah, Tom Savini did a great job. I mean, you got to remember this is 1981. So this movie's 42 years old. So if you're watching this replay and you go watch it, you're like, oh, that's corny. That doesn't look good. You got to remember it's 42 years old, and it came out a year after Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, if I'm not mistaken. Friday the 13th was filmed in 79, came out in 80, right? So this came out in 81. So it was filmed not long after.
That's right.
I'm sure they threw it together to make quick money.
Yep.
But Tom Savini did a good job. You had some good actors in it.
Yep. Tom Savini. Well, when they finally show the killer's face, Crosby, he did a hell of a job on this guy's mask. I mean, this guy's face was just melted like a wax candle, Mike.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
There's a couple of things I thought that ripped off.
Yeah, I'd like to hear
some other movies, in my opinion. The scene, they do a camp scene where they're all sitting around a campfire, which was cool. It was in the original Friday 13th as well. Or even Friday 13th Part 2, I believe. And all of a sudden you had, somebody jumped out as they're telling the story of what happened many years ago with the burning. I thought that was a little bit of a ripoff. One thing I think they really did a horrible.
Listen, I thought that was funny though, because then everybody's like, "Oh,
it was funny,
asshole," and stuff. It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. And they did the same thing in the first one too. I mean, in Friday 13th, they said, "Yeah, you asshole, that ain't funny." But the music in this movie is horrendous,
horrible.
If they had the same person that did, was it Manfredi or whatever his name was that did Friday 13th?
Yeah.
If they had him doing the score for this, it could have been 10 times better, because all they were using were like keyboard synthesizers, and it was just not scary. The music wasn't scary at all.
Yeah.
The other thing is when they did kill the guy, the creeper dude, the sleazebag with the shears in the neck, it reminded me of Halloween, how they stuck it through his neck and like stuck him into the tree and kind of looked at him. And he didn't turn his head sideways or anything. But it kind of.
Oh, you mean Glazer? That guy
Glazer that deserved it.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about that scene too. Well, he's pursuing a girl named Sally who seems real nice and sweet. You don't know why she would be attracted to this guy named Glazer, not Glacier. Sorry, that's WCW. Glazer. But somehow she likes this guy, and he keeps just pushing, wanting to just get in her pants. He finally does, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to do real good to you, baby." And he lasts about 20 seconds. And it was really funny because she was like, "That's it?"
What's even funnier, I love it. Me and Michelle died laughing on that. But what's even funnier is he's like, "Do you want me to go get some matches and light a fire to keep you warm?" And she's like, "Yeah, because you sure as heck didn't keep me warm," or something. I was like, "Whoa!"
That was great. That was
funny.
Great. That was great. Those were fun. That was funny because you seen this guy like trying to just push this girl. So kind of finally, got her. She got a little bit of revenge on him by dissing on him a couple times. So, and he couldn't say crap. He had to just deal with it because he knew it was true. So, yep. So yeah, I mean, and at the end of this movie, I think they really kind of did themselves this justice. I mean, they stabbed the guy in the back of the neck. They put an axe into his head, and it just gushed blood like this guy's not living. And then they lit him on fire, and he was done. Like, there's no way this guy could come back. So, like, they should maybe have left it a little ambiguous, like, if he's dead or not, Mike, because, like, literally, this guy's deader than Michael or Jason, like, in my opinion, like, for the first movie is what I'm trying to say.
I'm wondering now, though, if Friday the 13th copies some of their stuff, because This was 1981, so it was being filmed shortly after the original Friday 13th came out. There wasn't an axe to a head in the original Friday 13th. It was a machete. It was not. It was a machete. So you saw an axe to a head, and you saw shears being used, which Friday 13th used shears later on.
Well,
Friday 13th steal some stuff from The Burning, maybe.
Well, and in Halloween 2, Michael Myers was lit totally on fire like he was. So maybe
this movie influenced the Friday the 13th franchise a little bit.
And maybe Halloween as well.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
Yeah, could be, because like I said, he was lit totally on fire, and he had an axe to the head. So yeah, maybe it did. But I think, they could have done more of these, probably, Mike, I feel like. But so I think we both said our favorite kill, the raft scene. We don't have to go over that again.
Yeah.
But check it out if you haven't. Check out that
Definitely.
scene. It's really cool. So what's your rating on this, Mike? We're going to say Burning Men. How many Burning Men are you putting on? Because the guy got lit on fire twice, Mike.
I'm going to give this, what is average, Josh? Tell me what average is.
Oh, I think it's 3.
Okay, so I'm going to give it a 3. I think it's worth watching, especially for 1981. There's some funny little laughs in there. Don't get politically correct and all this stuff watching it. Remember the times, 1981.
That's right.
The influence on, and just to be able to laugh at what people wore, some of the corny jokes, some of the kills for back then for Tom Savini, I thought were great. So I would say a 3 to 3 1/4, probably 3. 3 sounds good for me.
Well, Mike, as we say here a lot, 3 is average. And I'm giving it a 3 too, Mike. I had that written down here. So I think it's average. I think I gave it a higher rating than the original Friday the 13th, if I remember.
You may have.
So I think this movie, I might have enjoyed this better than the original Friday the 13th. It's not better than Friday the 13th Part 2, though. Definitely not better than that. But it might be a tad better because I think you have more interaction with the characters. I think the characters are more likable in this. You get to know them maybe a little better. And the killer is definitely a lot cooler than the original killer in Friday the 13th. So,
right.
And the special effects, by the same guy. So, there is a lot of comparisons for sure. But like I said, I'll give it a 3, and I think that's about where it sits. And I think it is underrated. People, that's one thing that I've always seen about this movie. Every time I look it up or see things, that's always on underrated horror lists. And I would agree with that, Mike.
Yeah, I would too. Hey, so have you seen The Burning? If you have, comment. If you haven't, comment. Go check it out. Only an hour and 31 minutes. I love those 90-minute movies.
Great.
You can get it over real quick in a couple hours, and
also you
have
don't
fun
have to
with
think.
this one. This is one of those don't take serious. Just have fun with it.
Right. You don't have to think either, Mike. So
no, it's not elevated. It may be cellarvated.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Y'all have a good one, Josh.
See ya. Bye.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh,
and check us out on Facebook.
Also, I just want to say one more thing while you're saying that. Go ahead and say that stuff, Mike. Sorry.
Well, check us out on Facebook on Real Dead Horror Community.
Yes.
We try to post a lot of horror genre type stuff there.
Also, I also want to let everyone know, this is kind of an early thing. We are going to be live the following Friday after this is released. We're going to be talking all about Jaws. So we were going to be talking about Jaws live the following Friday after this. So just wanted to put that out there.
Yep. All right, Josh. Have a good one, man.
See you guys. Bye.